Today we're going to be talking about the SGX. I've pretty much found the best all-around build that you can use on controller and keyboard and mouse. That's probably one of the best ones, if not the best one, simply for the fact that there's no bloom, there's hardly any recoil on PC, there's no recoil on console, and this thing shoots extremely fast, extremely far away, and super straight. I don't do the best build in the world type of videos. I don't do that. So basically, this is going to be like a weapon spotlight video where I talk about everything that's going on with the SGX. And if you've never seen one of my videos before, I've spent the last 2 months of the game's life cycle mastering every single gun in the game. So every gun currently is above level 50, with the exception of a few being literally level 50 because I won't touch them again. I refuse. But most of these guns are above level 50, and the SGX is currently sitting at level 61 because I've had a lot of fun using it, and I'm still having a lot of fun using it. And my goal today is just to talk about what it does and essentially show you guys one of the better builds in the game. And because they finally decided to fix the blue laser, I started using it again on most of my guns, and I'm just trying to find a way to build it into a lot of things that I'm using because it's kind of hard. A lot of these guns need grips, except for a few SMGs, but a lot of ARs need grips and a lot of LMGs need grips. So it's really hard to fit in the 50 MW blue laser. That's just extremely good. And I hit that guy, at least 100 meters away for 81 right there. Like, it was nothing. Like, this gun is just so effective for no reason. It's easily becoming one of my favorite SMGs to use in the game. I wish I wasn't reloading. He would have died. Hands down, has become, over the course of the last, like, 6 to 7 hours, my favorite SMG to use. Like, it's my go-to gun today. I have, like, these weird days where I just feel like using a gun specifically. And today I just chose the SGX out of random. And my first game was really good. And then I ended up having my highest kill game possible. Not using any vehicles, just using my gun. It was, like, 120 kills with the SGX while I was testing out a bunch of different builds. And that was the first game when I stumbled upon this build, and I was like, damn, I really got to use it. Build will be up on the screen, because if you're just here for the build, there you go. You're more than welcome to get out of here now. But the main thing I wanted to talk about with the SGX was the fact that it's just not really talked about as much as the MP5 or the SCW, when it's virtually just as effective. It's just as effective as the other guns. And honestly, I think it's better in the close range than the MP5. The one thing that the MP5 does better than this gun is have a moderate fire rate in comparison, so it's a little better at the medium to long ranges, whereas this will gain a little more bloom than the MP5. So at a super far range, the gun won't be as effective, but it will do a lot of damage, as long as you burst a decent amount. Like, this gun, you will need to burst it a little bit, but not as much as other guns. And with this build specifically, you can strafe a lot more while shooting, even at ridiculous ranges like 60 to 70 meters, because you will still end up killing the guy. Like right here, my bullets were not spreading at all because of this laser, and I'm so glad that they ended up fixing it. It really makes this gun like a hell of a lot more viable and fun to use. I am gonna burn to death, but that's fine. I'd rather burn to death than die to... Never mind, I died to the tank anyways. But it makes it so much more fun to use. The reason why I don't like using grips, especially on SMGs, is because it lowers your mobility. With this gun, you have 72 mobility, which means you're the fastest you're going to be in the game while ADS strafing back and forth. It's essentially just like strafing back and forth without aiming in. You're slightly slower, so it's actually better to play without a grip than to put on like a classic foregrip, because you will strafe a hell of a lot slower. And with a gun like this that doesn't have a great time to kill past 30 meters, it's definitely beneficial to make sure that you are moving as fast as you possibly can, especially if you're trying to take down a sniper. I would really like these guys to actually like just push up and take the point. We can play the game. This is one of my favorite maps to play with this gun, so it kind of sucks that this match is going to be over in like 5 seconds, because it is really enjoyable. And the SGX comes around at 130 ROF, and compared to some of the other SMGs in the game, like the MP5, the UMG 40 as in the UMP, and the SCW, this does shoot faster, but obviously, SCW is in its like own little world. It's only 30 ROF slower, so it doesn't really matter that much compared to the MP5, where it does shoot slower. So in cases where you do end up fighting against the MP5, which kind of you rarely do, you will always win within a specific range because of how much faster you shoot. And that's one of the things that's so nice about this gun, because it seems like a gun that would only be good at range because of how it works and how it shoots and how accurate it is. It gives us off this weird persona that it is a far ranged only SMG, given the faster nature of its ROF and just how it wants to actually act. I think it actually strives in the close to close medium range, which, I mean, it does. It literally strives in the close to close medium range. It has its most effective damage range is within 10 to 25 meters. Outside of that, it's pretty TTK wise. And that's a pretty big plus, because it kind of dictates what you should be using when you look at an SMG. And if there's anything similar or better than this, that's something that should be put on. To me, this is like a good gun where if you're not trying to play too aggressive, but end up falling into people pushing you, people playing really aggressive and playing in a really annoying match, this gun's actually really good at like just kind of like letting you chill out and play the game. And another thing you guys want to make sure you're doing on like almost every single class is using the light and suppressor. I mean, there's some guns that you can kind of get away with not using it on. A few ARs, simply for the fact that you would want to put points into other things like grips and stuff. But the light and suppressor is just such an effective suppressor at stopping recoil buildup. So like obviously shooting over time. Can't believe I just got tanked down like that. It's the most effective one at stopping recoil buildup, which basically means the longer you're shooting, the more recoil you get. Something around that. What happens is every suppressor does that. It's just this one does it the most and it feels the best to use. And that's sort of why, well, that's one of the main reasons why you do get away with not using a grip when it comes to this gun. And because if I took off the light and suppressor, this thing would shoot straight to the moon. So it actually does a lot more than I think and a lot of people think. And it's really, really good. And I definitely recommend throwing this on every gun that you can fit it in. You guys are also going to see a comparison between controller and mouse and keyboard for recoil. The reason why I say this is like the only build you guys will need for this gun is because of how good it is for both inputs on the controller, and there's hardly any, if not none, on the PC as well. And having no recoil when it comes to controller and PC is a good gauge to go off of. Basically, I always check to see when I make a build for a weapon, I always plug in my controller to see if it's actually good with the controller before I even say that the build I have is good, because usually if it feels good on the controller, it's going to feel pretty good on the PC. Since they felt like shafting us, and for some reason they just felt like making it so much harder for PC players to play the game this year. And I don't understand why every FPS game is starting to do that, where keyboard and mouse gets different fucking values. I'm taking that map off. And one thing that I don't understand is why they're making it harder for PC players to aim and to control recoil and to just play the game, when 90% of the time the not so good players in the games are the PC players. And there's virtually no reason to sort of make it harder and make the attachments act differently on PC or with different inputs, because one, controller players in my opinion have aim assist. You're already getting a helping hand by having basically soft aim, whereas imagine if keyboard and mouse had soft aim and no recoil. There would be outrage everywhere. So keyboard and mouse gets no aim assist, no nothing, and we also get completely shafted by the amount of recoil some of these guns have. Now, in this game, they toned it down a lot. There was an update where they basically changed all the recoil patterns and made it a lot easier for PC players, because when the game launched, it was ridiculous and it was basically impossible to even shoot back, especially with all the bloom issues and bugs and such. So a good thing that they did recently was tone it back a lot for PC, and I really appreciated that because it made the game so much easier to play, but obviously still within its issues because there's so much more recoil, especially if you guys play with minimal attachments or no suppressor. Especially if you play without a suppressor, you'll notice there is a lot of recoil because you don't have that little perk of the suppressor stopping recoil buildup. So you essentially just shaft yourself at that, which gives controllers and everything a little more freedom when it comes to attachments in the game, which I wish we had that freedom, but we don't. And so I basically came up with a build on the SGX that works for controllers and for PC all in one. That's what I try to cater all of my builds to, so that when I do recommend a build to someone, especially while I'm streaming and I don't have to know what they're playing on, because the build will work for them. Obviously, there's probably good builds out there for this gun that are catered specifically to controller players, but as a non-controller player, I just prefer to find the happy medium that works perfectly for what I'm trying to do and what controllers can do. Like, that guy got beamed. If he stood still just like slightly longer, we would have been big chillin'. So what I highly recommend, if you are someone that likes to test builds out and you play on, I mean, you could do it on any platform now, right? Because you could plug in a keyboard and mouse to the consoles. What I highly recommend is actually taking your controller and plugging it in, or your keyboard and mouse and plugging it in when you're testing a new build to see if it's good on both. Because if it's really good on PC, it's going to be busted on console. And if it's really good on console, it's probably okay on PC, which is the cool thing about it. And then the guy I revive runs away from me. Yeah, I get it. I get it, dude. I get it. You know, I scratch your back. You know, you tell me to fuck off, basically. I understand. Ooh, laser beam. I'm just trying to get some kills here. I think if I stop talking, I'll actually be able to shoot back at these guys, especially at like this distance. Oh, 90? Oh, I hit the wall. I hit the wall. Okay, that makes sense. Well, that guy got a free kill on my team. How much damage I did to that guy, and I kind of just like let it go. 90 again. I crouched. Getting a little unlucky here. It's all right. I just gotta slow it down. I'm moving too fast. Oh god, the M44 almost took me out. That pistol is like super strong. Got the headshot. I saw that guy on my left. We're gonna take him out real quick, thankfully. The one thing that I don't like about this gun is there is a short delay after you actually fully reload where you can't shoot. And it always screws me up because I try to play really aggressive, but because the reload time is like 2.5 seconds, it really eats into how aggressive you can actually play, especially for an SMG. It's a little, I feel like it's a little on the slower side. I haven't checked at the other SMGs, but like right there, I was fully reloaded and the 30 popped up and I couldn't shoot until I jumped and landed. The MP7 and the KV9 are the only ones that actually have faster reload times by like 0.3 seconds. So most SMGs do take a while. Obviously you can put on fast mags, but they don't really help that much. If you do fast mags and mag catch, they end up doing a lot more. But for the most part, you don't even want to waste your points on that stuff. And you kind of just want to make do with how slow it reloads, but it does take a little bit out of your ability to play more aggressive, which I see as an L, but at the same time, you shouldn't be facing the enemy until you're fully reloaded anyways. It's just sometimes it happens like that, especially if you get into that mode where you really just want to fight and you're just dialed in, totally tunnel visioned on getting the next kill. That's where this gun will always sort of fail, but for the most part, it is absolutely solid, especially if you're not sure what SMG to use. And this gun is like an especially a good pick if you are an AR only player and you're trying to try SMGs out because of how accurate it is, and it's kind of very reminiscent of an AR, even if it is an SMG. And that's coming from a guy that only uses ARs in games. I don't really like to use SMGs, and so the fact that I'm like kind of sitting here and talking about it, just I mean, it speaks volumes to me because I know myself. And I would much rather prefer to sit here and use the B36 over anything right now. Not because the B36 is the best gun in the game, but simply because I just like the gun. It is just the gun that works for me perfectly. So this just reminds me of guns similar to that in the AR class, which is why I would recommend it and why I am recommending it. And against other SMGs, I just think it's a better pick for consistency. If you are someone that likes consistency over short bursts of damage and inconsistent damage ranges, then this is going to be your go-to SMG, simply because it is a very consistent one, and you never really have to guess as to what's happening and what's going on when you're using it. Whereas there are some other SMGs where you're kind of guessing half the time, and it's not fun to use. Whereas this is just, you know what you're getting out of it, and you're gonna get the out of it, and sometimes you get the best out of it, but most of the time it's and it's good. And this is definitely the better build, and I definitely recommend making this the next gun you either master if you haven't mastered any of the weapons or any SMGs, or just the next gun that you decide to try. It has been a lot of fun using it all day. I love getting sniped while I try to talk. But yeah, I definitely recommend giving this gun a shot if you haven't. I'm sure you have, since it's one of the first SMGs you get. It has been a lot of fun using it all day long. I can't believe I'm still getting shot at. I have to run even further away so I don't fucking die. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. This has been the SGX. I hope you guys go easy on me when it comes to the build. I think it's the best build that you could possibly use, especially on both platforms, or on all platforms. Whether you're using like a fucking trackpad controller or a dildo to play the game, I think this one will be the best. So yeah, let me know how I did, and goodbye.